All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another edition live at Drew's house. Hope everybody is doing well as we make our way through April. Very exciting. One of my favorite weeks of the year is right here. Weeks into the weekend, getting to the end of the week. Moving along here. This one went by kind of quickly for me. Hope it did for you too. But the Masters is here. We were just here, weren't we? Interesting with the pandemic. They just played this thing like 6 months ago or something like that. And golf's most prestigious tournament is back. Look at that. I found a flower. Must have fallen somewhere. I don't know. It's nice. But hope everybody's doing well. It's Masters weekend. I think I'm going to pick Jordan Spieth to win. And maybe Patrick Cantlay. I like those two. Those are my guys. We'll see but you know what? Let's bring an expert in here. I'm going to be joined in just a moment by Jesse Menachem. He's the head of Mass Golf. We've had Jesse on the show before. We talk about all sorts of good stuff with Jesse, from professional golf to local golf. We'll talk about the golf season that's coming to Massachusetts as well. So let's bring Jesse Menachem in right now. All right, and here is Jesse. Jesse Menachem, longtime friend of the show here. Happy golf season, sir. How you doing?
Things are great. It's great to be with you and appreciate the time.
Absolutely. So I'll talk a little bit more about professional golf, because part of the reason we're having you on this week is because the Masters is here, and it's one of the most wonderful times of the year, of course. But I do want to ask you, because you're the head of Mass Golf, and you ready for another big season?
We are, and I think big is the key word, building off of last year. There's just a ton of momentum, a ton of demand, and we're excited about it. We're bullish.
I have talked to quick look around. I'm not sure if you got this impression, but I mean, like any business, I know you're going to try to capitalize on big years. Have you noticed, and I've heard a couple complaints, but I don't know if it's across the board or just a few courses, but have you noticed a lot of price hiking from last year coming up the big season for courses?
I'd probably need to take a closer look at it, but I think with certain circumstances, folks looking to utilize their own golf cart, for example, you might see a bit of a surge or an uptick there, just to accommodate smaller fleet sizes of carts and that situation.
There's no doubt about it. Last year was a huge golf season. There were some obstacles as far as tee times going, as far as, staggered tee times. And I know it took you guys a while to get the state on board and to where you wanted to get as many people out there as you could. But in the end, most of these courses ended up having big years. I mean, it was tough to get tee times. People wanted to golf.
Yeah, it was remarkable. The interest, there were not a lot of activities beyond golf to feel safe and that were able to be managed and conducted in that manner. But on the golf side, that's where we thrived. Obviously, many clubs and facilities rely on other revenue streams, which didn't do as well, your events or your functions. But the golf piece, the exercise, the mental, physical health, that was first and foremost.
I tried to use the time to get really good, make it my year, and I didn't quite get to where I wanted. When does that happen? I thought it was an easy game.
That's right. Well, there's PGA professionals out there, so you know where to find them.
How's your game these days? You hitting them all right? You getting any time to play? You're a busy man.
I've been in the 9-hole groove to start things off, which is great. Nice way to ease in, getting my son out there, my wife, my father. So it'll start to pick up here.
How old's your son now?
Our oldest is 7.
7. All right. So that's when you can get him early, right? That's when you can develop the good habits that way.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a sports competition mind. So anything that has to do with competition, he's all about.
By the way, what is the perfect age to get going with golf? I mean, I'm sure you see real youngsters out there. I know I have some cousins with kids, and they're kind of already getting the clubs in their hands. It feels like a good sport to start young.
Yeah, no question. There's opportunities with camps throughout the state that probably start closer to age 5. 7 is an age that we typically start for first tee of Massachusetts programming. So I think that's a pretty good sweet spot right there.
You start late like me, you develop bad habits right out of the gate. That's not good. Jesse Menachem joining us, the head of Mass Golf. Any massive changes throughout the Massachusetts golf landscape this year we should know about right off the bat? Or?
We actually left the year in a pretty good place back in 2020 with the golf guidelines. There's a couple things we're looking to adjust or tweak in the next week or so. But we're confident that we'll be able to get there. And courses have been open. The weather's been favorable. So we're just seeing, again, the demand be absolutely incredible. Our events have taken off in a matter of hours. Events are filling up. So we're seeing some record interest out there.
Absolutely. And this is, last year there was just an urge to do anything. And I think golf was an outlet for so many people. And I think maybe the game even grew a little bit as far as new people coming into the game. I know a lot of people who weren't necessarily golfers, but they said, you know what, if we're going to try to become golfers, now might be the time. They started playing, they learned to love it, and here we are. Now they're into it for another year.
Exactly. Yeah, we saw certainly a sizable group of new golfers, but also those lapsed golfers, those that got away from the game for quite some time. And our goal is to make it sticky, to keep these groups around, make sure they're having a tremendous experience, no matter what level of play they're trying to achieve. And we're again, it's a trend that we are pleased to see, because the last go around of numbers like this was probably back in the Tiger boom.
Yeah, and it does. I'm sure that would be your message to golf courses, right? And I won't dwell on the potential courses upping, because that's their right. If they have big business, then it's their right to up prices. But that is probably the advice that you want to say, that these things do come in cycles. These booms happen, and do your thing, but don't take it for granted. I would assume would be the best professional advice, business advice.
No, that's absolutely right. And we're obviously in a unique position here, being a seasonal state. Then you can't play golf year round in most of the states. So we've got to take advantage of the 7-8 month window that we have. And again, I think there's a lot to look forward to in 21.
8 to 9 months for some people. Some people will really push it into that cold.
That's right.
And some winters we've been really lucky here. This winter wasn't too. I got to play a little bit in some cold weather, but yeah, if you have no snow, you can get away with it a little bit here.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the interest in the game in general. That obviously brings us to the Masters here. It's Masters week. I know, first of all, any local, I always ask you this when there's big tournaments going on, is there any local flavor that I know the Masters is exclusive, but.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we do have, that local connection that we've had recently in other tour events, but there's a couple extensions out there that we'll be rooting for. Yeah,
there's always something connected to Boston, right? Just from a personal perspective, this time of year, this happened to fall in front of me, the flower, and I started thinking of the, what are those things at Augusta? The
azaleas.
Thank you. Sorry, I always forget the name. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It gets me thinking spring, it gets me thinking warm weather coming in. This tournament does a lot for me mentally, and I feel like a lot of people are in that same boat.
No question. You can feel it around our team, our office, but through the membership as well. The juices are flowing. Temperatures have been great. We do not usually see this stretch of quality weather. Usually it's a little more wet in April, but nonetheless, we didn't have this opportunity last year. We missed this whole on-ramp of getting interest for golf because the Masters was canceled. Then the U.S. Open was canceled, and several other events during this pocket of time. So to be able to have this in the back of people's mind and have that outlet, and it kind of it pulls it all together to get the season kicked off the right way.
I didn't even think about that. You didn't even have that great time to kind of build up golf interest last year because you were dealing with all these, not backroom dealings, but you're dealing with all this stuff to just get courses open. It was less about golf and more about, this is what we can do safely, right?
Yeah, that 6-week period was a total miss. And the odd thing is last winter and early spring was very favorable. People were playing just about year round. So you'd have rounds up until March or early March. And then once the pandemic really hit and things closed up, basically something got taken away from our golfers. And then for 6 weeks, we couldn't get out there. So I think that's why we saw the pent up demand for one, but this is just such an incredible opportunity to get golf out there and make people aware of what a great game it is.
You must be pretty proud about I think people will look back on, especially when you talk about, the governor, all the people around the governor. When it comes to those big statewide decisions, they eventually gave the green light to golf, and golf didn't screw it up. We've seen other places, other businesses get shut down and certain things happen because, you couldn't handle it. You didn't follow the guidelines, whatever. Golf and the golfers and the pro shops largely did not screw it up. You must be pretty proud of that.
We are, yeah, and I will give a lot of credit to our alliance, the Alliance of Massachusetts Golf Organizations, which basically encompasses all the groups in golf within this state and region. And we all speak to our memberships, our constituents regularly. And, golf's an honorable game, right? It's about the etiquette. It's about taking care of people, having a great experience. And those that service the clubs and the facilities, your golf professionals, superintendents, managers, they went above and beyond, and they were shorthanded. So we are extremely proud. We are not aware of any, significant cases or spikes from playing golf. Certainly some restaurant or clubhouse type scenarios that were able to be managed, but just thrilled that we had the opportunity to open up, well before other activities, and that we were recognized as such.
Again, Jesse Menachem joining us, the head of Mass Golf. Just we talked a lot about the interest and the demand. Some of that has got to be all these great players that we're going to see take center stage here at the Masters. It was great to see Jordan Spieth come through and win a tournament last week, his first one in 4 years, one of the popular young guys. Still young, even though it's been like 4 years since he won. People don't realize how young he was when he was having that initial rise. But just this group of young players that's going to take center stage in the Masters. Good for the game, right?
It really is good for the game. They're good people. They're engaged with their communities and their followers, whether it's by social media, and really the way they handle themselves on and off the golf course. Perfect example with Jordan there. I mean, someone to emulate. Rory McIlroy, obviously, a lot of kids look up to. So I think the future of the game is bright, and it's great to be able to gravitate towards these stars.
I'm not picking Rory after that press conference. You see that press conference? This is one big journey. This is an important tournament, but well, yes, it's very important, Rory.
He's kind of my sneaky pick. I'm going to quietly keep him in there.
Really? Okay. That's all right. Bold of you after that press conference. I'm looking at him going, Rory, what are you doing? The Masters. Jordan Spieth, I saw a kid, the last round I played was decked out in all the Under Armour gear and looked just like Jordan. And I heard his dad say Jordan Spieth is his favorite player. And I mean, that stuff's just very cool to see. I'm dressing like him out there on the course.
Yeah, I mean, and you see a lot of that type of trend, whether it's, the Ricky in orange, certainly Tiger with a red jersey. But all these young guys, they've got a brand, they've got a style, and it's definitely working.
Is he going to make the Masters? What was the deal with him? I can't remember.
I don't believe he did off the top of my head.
That's fascinating. You've been around this game your whole life. It is a fickle game. Anybody who plays knows it. It can come and go, and people know when it goes. It's a hard thing. What do you make of that when you see a player just kind of drop off, top player, then suddenly just can't find his game?
Yeah, I mean, you could put Jordan in that category for the last 4 years. He was really in an odd place, and I think we all know it's between the ears. This game, most of it, majority of it. But I'd have confidence that Ricky could make it back. He's driven. Still a young guy. He's got a great network around him, and he knows how to win. He's been there. He's been on that stage. So I think it's just the ebbs and flows of the professional tour and the pressures that are on these guys and women out there.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that too, because I don't think, you even know at some of the tournaments in Massachusetts, some of the amateur levels. It's such a fine line getting to be to that PGA level. I mean, the players that are just below the PGA level are not missing that cut by very much. I mean, they're little things, right? Exactly,
and we see it quite often because a lot of our amateurs that come up through our ranks, they'll give the professional tours a shot, the minor league tours and what have you. And it is not easy to make it through. And it's a tough lifestyle at the same time. So we'll see them given a year or two run and then come back to the amateur ranks, just to give it a shot and give it a go. But the competition is fierce. It is extremely difficult.
How is the tournament situation worked out for you guys in Massachusetts? Because I know it hasn't been easy putting on tournaments anywhere in the country. I know you guys made some happen last year. What's that been like?
Early on, it was kind of tricky and cumbersome. Every event was case by case, depending on where it may be within the state, what the club was able to do or facility to accommodate the scope of the event. An example of something we had to change or pivot was our state amateur last year, where 144 players usually have caddies. we could not have more than 100 people on a golf course. So we introduced a second stroke play site so we could split up the field. We had no caddies in the event, so players were walking with their own bag using a push cart. And we had to make the most of the situation. So it really took a community and understanding from those that were involved to really embrace the circumstances we were in.
Have those, you're going to be able to ease up on those this year and kind of get back to normal almost?
We are, yeah. It got a lot better towards the end of last year as things improved. There's a couple things that we've got to keep an eye on this year. Spectators are still not permitted, and that's a big piece of our operation, at some of our marquee events. But we're working hard to make that happen.
Even in these professional events on TV, it's just nice to see some spectators getting back out there. It really does. I mean, golf is definitely a sport that did still translate without fans. I mean, it's not essential, but it's nice to have the fans out there, isn't it?
It is, and you can tell from the tour players, it makes the event that much better, that much different. For us at a lesser, smaller level, it's really about the family, the friends, having buddies out there to cheer you on, boyfriend or girlfriend, what have you. So it makes it just a nice community feel for the events that we're hosting.
You mentioned one very big name a few moments ago. Obviously, the whole golf world is still thinking about Tiger Woods as we approach the Masters. It's funny. I have a younger cousin who's like 20, young 20s, just out of college, and like he didn't really realize until he watched that Tiger documentary like how big he was, because he never really got to watch him. He remembered like my grandfather watching and loving him, but he never like really got to watch Tiger. And like people that age and under don't really get it, do they?
Yeah, I mean there is that demographic that may not fully appreciate how monumental he was to golf. I'm kind of right in that sweet spot myself. I mean, I was probably playing high school golf when Tiger was at his peak, so I was into it. But you're right, and it's kind of an interesting trend. The younger generation coming up, having to really look at YouTube, to see what Tiger was all about and what impacts he really had.
It's very cool to see all these players. I've already heard a dozen of them just talk about how much they miss him being at Augusta this week. Obviously coming back, recovering from a car crash, and hopefully he's doing all right. Nobody's a private guy these days. Nobody really knows, but everybody seems to be saying this tournament's better. The game is better with Tiger in it.
It's so true. And you get that from both ends of the spectrum, the younger guys that look up to him and the older guard that have been around that just know how much of a key player he's been.
It has been a busy year. I need to ask you about a couple things. A lot of controversies this year on the professional level. What did you make of the whole Patrick Reed ball drop thing in the left rough there? What did you make of that?
Yeah, tricky situation, no doubt. I think it was handled as best as it possibly could have been. You've got professional rules officials in there that are with these players on a weekly basis, so they know the situation. They're experts, and I think they handled it as best as they possibly could have.
These guys, it's true that all these pros know the rule book inside and out. And obviously, as you mentioned earlier, it's a game of honor. So these guys know not to abuse it. But I do think we do sometimes get to a point at that level, the professional level, where they know it so well that sometimes they're able to find loopholes in it. Like just the idea of like Patrick Reed walking up to his ball, asking if it bounced, that being the first thought that came to the mind, that makes me think that's somebody that's hoping that answer is no.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the rules are there to keep the field level and make it equitable for everybody. You got to protect the field. But there are ways the rules can play to your advantage, and to know them inside and out can absolutely be beneficial to a seasoned player.
Dustin Johnson on the green there with the gimme putt a couple weeks ago and match play. What'd you make of that one?
Yeah, I'm with Kevin Na on that one. It's part of the game in match play. It's just a different format of the game, and you've got to respect and appreciate that.
What is your rule on the gimme putts? I have a younger cousin who's turned into a great golfer. Like he's better than me. He's beating me. And he goes, I don't know the etiquette on it. I've always made anything. I don't do all the money games with you guys. I don't know what to do, when to give a putt, when not to putt. What would be your best advice?
Well, I mean, I see all levels of play. I guess, if I'm playing, I'm a little bit more on the casual side. And, if it's stroke play, you got to get the ball in the hole, no doubt. But if we're playing a match, I could be a little bit more conservative and playful there.
All right, very good. That's fair enough. So I got a couple of the controversies out of the way. Your Rory is one of your picks. Is he the pick? You got any other names you're going to throw our way?
Yeah, he's not the pick. He's kind of that sleeper that I mentioned.
Sorry, sleeper was the term. Sorry, I didn't.
Sneaky sleeper. Jordan's on a lot of people's lists right now, as you can imagine.
Tough to win back on the tour, though.
It is tough to go back to back. I agree. I might go John Rahm. He's a new dad, and I think that the guy is just he's fearless, and I think he'll do well this week. Fresh perspective.
Like just a new dad, right? He was a chance he might have missed this tournament if his wife had the baby.
I think that's right. Absolutely.
That must be exciting. You mentioned like all the family that you're happy to see back on the course. Like that is such a part of it. Amateur level, pro level. I know you see it inside the ropes. I mean, to have that family support, it's not just the one player out there sacrificing. It's wives, it's girlfriends, it's kids, it's all that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's the entire network. You need the whole community behind you.
And if you're having a bad day, sometimes those people can pick you up because it is a game between the ears, man.
Exactly. Absolutely. No doubt.
What you have had the great honor, I believe, if I remember correctly, of playing Augusta. Am I right?
I haven't played. I've been down for the event a handful of times, but just an absolutely incredible venue and experience.
What is it like to walk Augusta?
There's nothing like it. It is as special as it gets. For a golf geek like me, everything is done to a T, and they just do not miss a beat. From for that large of a sporting event, I've never been to a Super Bowl or World Series or NCAA Final Four, but just seeing what can be done at one venue to the level it is, it's incredible.
What surprised you about it?
How perfectly orchestrated every bit of the operation is.
Really, from like just the grounds crew to,
and not just the orchestration, but the way the people down there make you feel as a patron, as a spectator, as someone visiting. They are so proud of what they do.
Interesting. I heard somebody say who had recently had the experience like you to walk the course said what struck him was that it's a little bit hillier than what the TV gives off sometimes. Did you feel that?
Yeah, in some ways it's extreme that you really cannot do it justice by way of television. I think it's gotten better that you can really get a good feel, just the way technology's been. But when you're on that property and seeing the elevation changes, seeing the undulations in the greens and the way these players have to be so creative, that's why it's so tough. I mean, it's just such a unique venue in the game.
Last couple, and this is the last one on the Masters. It drives me absolutely crazy that coverage does not start until late Thursday afternoon. Show every shot. I need more golf in my life.
I know. There is a challenge there, but that's the Masters. That's Augusta National.
Yeah, I thought you wouldn't jump into that one too much. Jesse Menachem, again, thank you for all the great time. Final thoughts here. What would be your one come out and play golf to the people of Massachusetts? I know you're always trying to sell the game to people. What would be your selling point this year?
Yeah, I will actually jump on the youth golf train. We are 2 years into a program called Youth on Course. Sorry, my lights just went out. But this is a program which provides access to our youth in the state and the future golfers in the game. So I'd encourage, kids out there, parents, grandparents, get these young kids playing. It's an absolutely incredible program, and we're proud to champion it throughout the state of Mass.
We've had that conversation before. It's the one sport. I played it with my grandfather when I was young. It's the one sport that kind of brings generations together.
That's exactly right.
You kind of have an Augusta feel behind you right now with the lights out. This is good. You get the
my silhouette, right?
now we need Jim Nance. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. That's right.
Jesse Menachem, thanks, man. Appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy the golf season. We'll catch up with you a little later this summer, all right?
You do the same. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care.
All right, Jesse Menachem of Mass Golf. Always fun to talk with him. Always fun to talk Masters. Gave us a few predictions there. Always like to get predictions from people who know the game. That's always cool. And talked a lot about Massachusetts golf, and he's really great at that. He's really great ambassador of the game, too, around here. He's always been really good if we've ever needed questions or advice or especially during the pandemic. Man, he was an information booth as to what people can and cannot do on the course. And I don't know, I hope you find that interesting, because I certainly did. And I always enjoyed my conversations with Jesse Menachem. Everybody enjoy the Masters. As I speak right now, television coverage is underway. That has always annoyed me. I know I didn't really get into it with Jesse, but like, remember like the US Open, Fox had it years ago. They made like a point of taking every shot, and the Masters still has that like thing where they only want to show you the late halves of the day, and like coverage really only starts at 3 p.m. I think it's 3. So right when this show started, but coverage only starts like then, and they only show like the afternoon, and then on Sunday it doesn't kick into like 1 or 2. I don't know. And more golf. I love the golf. There's a golf channel. They should show every shot. More golf, please. Every shot. It's like the only sport that's still like kind of, you can't find it if you want. Like, you watch the scores change on your phone if you really want to follow a player for a while. That was a little bit of a Drew rant, wasn't it? You should stop that. I held this the whole show. Not an azalea. I don't know what it is. I think it's fake. Pretty sure this is fake. I don't know. We should get out of here. I think I'm ready for the weekend. Thank you, Jesse Menachem of Mass Golf. Appreciate it. Everybody, thank you. Have a good week. Have a good weekend, rest of the week. And it's getting warmer. It's nice. Bye.